Okay, we're chatting with Grandma and Grandpa Perez. Hey, Grandma, what was the neighborhood like where you grew up?
I grew up in a little city called Pleasant Grove, Utah, and on my street, every house had kids, and every night, every we would all have dinner in the summer and then go out and play, and we played tag, and we roller skated, and we rode our bikes up and down the street, up and down the street. Everybody knew each other. On my street, there was my house, then the Bones, the Offers, the Bartons, the Watkins, the Newmans. Across the street was Mrs. Reynolds, and she was always kept to herself and never talked to anybody. And she was the kind of lady that if your ball got in her yard, you never saw it back. Then there was the Turleys. Then there was the Wolfords. And Mr. Wolford lost his legs in the Vietnam War, so he had prosthetic legs and walked with braces.
Wow.
And then there were the Meldrums right next to them, and the Meldrums were the what would be considered the welfare case of the street. Mr. Meldrum, Brother Meldrum, never had a steady job. They had 6 kids. They were unkempt and slovenly.
Grandma Jane's favorite word.
My mom's favorite word is slovenly. And they stole everything. They used to break into my house when I was little because my mom had a lot of food storage, and we had big buckets of Jell-O, and they would break into our house and lick the Jell-O. They would eat the Jell-O.
That's pathetic.
It is. And one time I was 3 or 4, and my dad brought home a new tricycle for me. And I rode it for one day, and I parked it in my front yard, and the Meldrum boys came and stole it and took it apart in their yard, and my parents got mad at me for leaving the bike in the front yard, even though we had no gate or no place really to put any bike. Right. They got mad at me for leaving my bike out for them to steal.
Victim shaming.
Victim shaming. Then next to them were the Rogers, and they were not active in church, and there was probably some severe abuse going on there, now that I think about it. And then right across the street from me were the Reeds, and there were children in every house, and we were all around the same age.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Yeah. What, if any, I added if any, kind of chores did you do as a kid? Did you get an allowance?
Never an allowance. And I remember vomiting a lot as a child, and as I've gotten older and gone through medicine, now I know why. My job was to clean the toilets, and my mom would give us just the regular washcloth to clean inside the toilet with, and then she would just wash it with the regular clothes, and then it would become our facial washcloths or whatever I'm sure that's why I had E. coli all the time.
You had E. coli all the time?
Yes, I was so sick all the time. I threw up constantly.
Holy cow.
But I'm sure it was because of cleaning the toilets with my bare hands with a washcloth.
Did you Americans not know of toilet bowl cleaning devices?
No, I hadn't. I didn't see a toilet brush until you and I got married.
Well, actually, you know what though? Oh yeah, I shouldn't say that. We used to clean the toilet with those green pads,
Mhm.
those scrubby things that
Yeah.
you clean like pottery pots and
SOS
pots
pads, yeah.
with our hands. But you
Yeah.
know what we used to do? We used to empty it out. So we'd flush it out, then with a cup, empty out the toilet bowl, and then use that powder.
Hmm. Oh,
Comet?
Ajax or Comet, yes.
Ajax, no, it was Ajax.
Yeah.
You're right. And no, you're right. We used to do it by hand.
Yes.
It wasn't until the 80s
Right.
that this things on a stick came around.
Right.
So I'll take my comment.
And then I had 6 or 5 other sisters before my younger brother came along. And we all had, and no dishwasher or anything like that. So we all had to participate in cleaning up after dinner. I never saw my mom ever do the dishes, ever. She cooked and never cleaned up. My dad always, it was us. And then when there were no more kids in the house, my dad always did the dishes. My mom never did dishes. So my big fear in cleaning was we filled the sink up with soapy water and all of the utensils went in, including sharp knives, and they soaked while you washed the dishes by hand. And I was so afraid. I never did, but because it's slippery, you pick up one of those sharp knives and it would just slice, which happened a lot. That was
it did happen.
That was a common thing that friends had their
Sliced up hands.
Yes, from the knife in the dish soap, picking it up.
That's sad. I don't know how to start this. Oh,